In the last couple of weeks, we've been hearing people, celebrities, influencers, just about everybody who probably has great intentions, asking us to stay positive, to be positive, to get over things, to stay in control or to be in control of things. And most often, it's not easy. And as a mental health professional who's been in the field for more than 2 decades, I'd like to tell you how this is. One, when you're not able to do this, you're going to numb yourself by going on to social media and scrolling through videos and posts that are not even meaningful. You could probably also start binge watching series after series on different platforms, or you could get addicted to online games. You could be overeating, you could be oversleeping, you could have issues with substance abuse, including alcohol. And of course, there is clingy relationships, becoming very possessive, becoming very anxious around loved ones, and also displacing your emotions, meaning using your emotions in ways that you've not done before. So if you're feeling sad and out of control, using it as anger sometimes also happens. There is a vicious cycle of helplessness, hopelessness, and sadness that many of you have been going through. And when you see these videos that tell you that you have to stay positive, it becomes difficult for you to understand how that's possible. For people who have mental fitness or who have practiced positivity, some of these activities may seem very easy to do. But for many of you who found emotional regulation difficult even in the past, this second wave in India could be a very, very disturbing experience for you mentally. Having said this, let's go through the 5 hours of how we can deal with this, because it's always important to have solutions, not just forcing people to think in different ways, but to actually be in a position where you can make a difference. Let's start with the 5 hours. The first is always routine. When you have regular routines for sleep, for your eating habits, exercise, work, and a hobby, it usually brings about a good balance. You may ask me, but I'm not able to sleep. One of the first things that we need to realize is that we don't need to perfect the process, but at least get to bed at the right time, the same time every night. And even if you're not able to go into deep sleep immediately, you could focus on, say, breathing in and breathing out, a physiological aspect which helps you to calm yourself. Now, some of you could listen to instrumental music while you try to fall asleep. See what works for you. So the first hour is always routine. The second hour is reduce. For this, I have an ABC model, which is become aware of what triggers you. Find out what makes you feel helpless or hopeless or angry or jealous or guilty. Because once you become aware, you can use the B, which is boundaries, and C, which is actual cutting off. Boundaries is where you can actually communicate assertively to a person who's been sending you forwards that are useless or unverifiable, and letting them know that you don't want that information. This is where you realize that some information is triggering, but you'd like to communicate about it. And then there is the C, where you exit groups or you block sites, block people or unfriend people who deliberately spread false information. So this is the second hour, reducing. The third hour is very important, which is reflection. And in reflection, it is the ability to go inwards. We do live in a conditioned world where we're always trained to look outwards for solutions. But in situations like this, looking inwards helps. And to start, you can't suddenly just close your eyes and do a guided meditation. Remember that reflection starts with a physiological awareness. So breathing is a good way to start. You can just have gentle, deep breathing exercises. You could count your breath. If you're trained in pranayama or any of the Eastern methods of breathing, you could start. Basically, breathing helps you to ground yourself and help you become more aware of this moment. The next, of course, is to understand that you could have sensory experiences where you start becoming aware of what you can feel on your skin, what you can taste, what you can smell, what you can see around you, because making sure that you're in your body inhabiting your body as gently as you can is one of the ways in which you can bring reflection. Because once you start doing this, you'll realize that your mind wanders, and then you can make a micro recovery and come back. Micro recovery is like when you're cycling. You realize that you're losing balance, and then you make these small micro recoveries, and they're very subconscious processes. As you start physiologically becoming aware or making sensory awareness possible, you can make micro recoveries which will build into meditative practices or reflective practices over a period of time. It takes time, but it definitely is possible. The fourth R is regulation, and by regulation I mean when a lot of information is coming towards you, you need to realize what you want to pay attention to and what you want to cut off, or what you want to do with the emotion that is evoked, or what do you want to do with the thoughts that come up in your mind. You can't just cut off thoughts, you can't just numb yourself. You need to realize how to bring that in, become aware of it, and let it go. And for this, I'm just suggesting two of the many techniques that are possible, two at the very beginner level. Right? So the first is the cognitive way of doing it. The cognitive way of doing it is through awareness. So you ask yourself, what am I feeling in this situation? Something got triggered. What am I feeling here? So for example, on the days that I used to have difficulty breathing, I realized that there was a lot of anxiety. And once I realized it was anxiety, and the physical symptoms of yawning that I was having were not necessarily symptoms of COVID, it was easier for me to work with my doctor to let him know that, these are anxiety related and these are actual symptoms. So the allergic symptoms he took care of, and the anxiety symptoms I was able to work through. So this is where, when you ask yourself, what am I feeling? You're likely to come up with a couple of feelings. So I'm feeling guilty, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling out of control, whatever it is, just become aware. Once you say, this is what I'm feeling, and you label it, the next question will be, what would I like to do with it? Would I like to stay with it and let it go? And the other option, would I like to change it to something? If I want to change it to something, what would I like to change it to? So once I say, okay, I'm feeling anxious, but I'd like to feel calm, or I'm feeling very angry, I'd like to be able to change something. So when I'm able to do this, then the next question will be generating 6 possible action steps that will help me reach that. So for example, I'm feeling anxious, I'd like to feel calm. So the first step, I'd like to focus on my breathing. The second, what I'd like to do is to take a sip of water. The third, I'd like to focus on thoughts that help me feel more balanced. Fourth, and so on. So you generate about 6 steps. When you set yourself and see what works for you, because what works for me necessarily need not work for you. This is the cognitive way, where you become aware, you decide what you want to do about it, and you generate steps. This is for people who are extremely rational, and therefore some of them will find this very easy. However, for people who may not be able to do this and feel extremely out of control, I usually teach the sensory way of doing it, which is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Now this is very, very simple, but you'll need to practice it again. 5 things that I can see around me. 4 things that I can hear in my environment. 3 things that I can taste right now. 2 things that I can smell. 1 thing that I can touch, and it can be any sense, it need not be that same order, but what you're basically doing is to close your eyes and become aware of each sense. Give it 5 things that it has to focus on, and when you start doing this at a sensory level, you'll realize that it's easier for you to slowly build that window of tolerance where you're able to bounce back without too much of anxiety, and you can keep making these micro recoveries over a period of time. The last R is reaching out. Now you notice that many times as human beings, we crave human connection, right? So some people are able to deal with these out of control emotions by reaching out to a loved one. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a spouse, reach out to somebody who will be able to support you as a therapeutic ally sometimes, or sometimes just when you want to vent and you want to be held or you want to be heard. This is one. The second is stay connected. Get back on your school groups or where you feel safe and get in touch with them. Make sure that you set some ground rules in these connections and let them know that, I don't want these triggering information to be circulated in these groups, but let's have, a chat, a friendly chat or something that's very supportive. Third, become useful. You could volunteer your time if you can, or you could help out with somebody, because some people are able to regulate better when they're able to be useful in a situation. And the fourth is, of course, if you need to reach out to somebody therapeutically, look for a qualified therapist who will be able to support you through this. These are the 5 R's, but they don't work all the time for everyone. So this is where you need to realize what works for you, because what works for me need not necessarily work for you. That's the first step. And in this, you need to review periodically. Did something work? Does it need to be retained, or does it need to be changed? And when you start doing this, you find it's much easier to make a recovery. The next, consistency always helps. So when you start something, give it time, give it about 3 weeks, because nothing of value can be built just like that. Things of value take time to build. So give yourself that much time. Remember that it's okay to have difficult days, it's okay to relapse, because as long as you're able to make the micro recovery and the recovery basically, it's always okay. When you find that there are difficult days, speak to yourself as you would to a kind friend. Don't become the critic, because it's already difficult on these days. So when you're critical of the relapse that you've had or the difficulty that you're having, it becomes more challenging. Make sure that you are aware that you are being human while you're going through these experiences. It's okay to feel out of control. It's okay to feel really challenged by these unprecedented events around us, these uncertain times around us. Remember that empathy takes 3 forms. One is cognitive empathy, where you know what the other person is feeling. People who go through cognitive empathy don't necessarily get sucked into a lot of the emotions, but they tend to be the ones that send hate messages, that start reacting to political comments online and so on. So cognitive empathy sometimes can be very difficult. The second is emotional empathy, where you go into the situation, feel what the other person is feeling, and then get overwhelmed and bogged down by the whole thing. This is the more difficult one. However, there is the third type of empathy, which is called compassionate empathy, where you realize that these are difficult times. You become aware that they're not easy for anybody. And then you see how you would like to deal with yourself and how you would like to deal with the situation or the person. And you realize that in some situations, it's enough to take care of yourself. In some situations, you do something about it. And in other situations, you reach out and help the other person. Compassionate empathy helps us to become aware and meaningfully contribute towards the experience. I hope this video was useful for you. I've stuck to very basic techniques and ways in which you can deal with this. There are much deeper ways to do this with the help of a mental health professional. So if you feel that you want to reach out to somebody, it would be a good time to do that. And of course, some people will require medication to be able to tide over this crisis. No method is right or wrong. What works for you is what you need to be aware of and take steps in that direction. I hope you feel better soon.